Yeah, pro tip, I should use the shotgun more. Remember when I was talking about, how I don't understand why I couldn't pick up any ammo? It was the simplest explanation, of course, which is I haven't really been using any other guns. And obviously, there's no ammo around to pick up for the default guns because they're infinite ammo. So, yeah, just another installment of me knowing dick shit about video games or just being observant in general. Anyway, there you go. That was the kind of uninteresting way back to the end of this level, which I didn't talk over because there was not much to say. And here is the Sanctuary of the Scion, which is that how you say it? Because I've heard scion before for that word, but it also wasn't in this particular context where it seems that the scion is like an actual physical thing. Well, there's multiple of them. Yeah. And of course, right after my fucking shotgun advice, I completely shit the bed on it and just end up using the double pistols anyway after getting my ass kicked. But whatever. And here is the thing that's one of those things in games that you're supposed to spend forever figuring out, but I like having fun, so I just looked up how to do it. And that edit was because it's very simple what you actually have to do. You just have to turn these two things in a certain direction. Because, like, once you turn one of them, you can see the other one's turn, so it's not so simple. It's just, like, getting them all to face the right way, as I originally thought it was. But the instructions for which ones to turn which ways was, like, assuming you haven't touched them already, and I had already fucked with them, so I had to reload my save immediately. So I actually got to fight those things again, and I did better this time around, but didn't end up showing that one because I mean, it's really just because I edited stupidly in a dumb way, and yeah, and this is me being confused, not realizing this ladder's here, and just wanting to make sure before I jump on and fall to my death. Not that it would really matter, because there was a save right after the pillar went up, so it would have been mostly fine, but, you know. Anyway, we got some more of these crunchy walls, and these are getting a little bit dodgy, you know. They're getting a little bit more complicated, a little more funny timing with these things here, because yeah, that does not work. I thought that would work, but yeah, you're supposed to chill out on here, go as far over as you can, and then time it so you're dropping down onto this thing before it goes all the way down, so you can still jump across and reach this without getting smushed to death. Pretty simple gamer stuff, but you know, you have to use your head a little bit to figure it out. You have to think for more than 2 seconds about how you're going to do the jumps, rather than just do them in quick succession. So, you know, it was a big deal for me and my tiny brain. Speaking of which, you know, not that this is really gonna change the gameplay very much, because you know, as I've just gotten done saying, and as you've just spent 11 videos up to this point seeing examples of, you know, am not great at this game anyway, and don't even, you know, even having played most of this game, didn't remember how to do everything, got lost and fucked up and all that stuff. Excuse me. But, this is the point in the game that I have not seen before. I played up to this level. I played up to the Sanctuary of the Scion on my original file, which I was going to use as a practice file for this LP, like to do for, you know, the end part up to the end. But then, as you know, I fucked up backing up the saves, and I lost the save file, and now it's gone. So yeah, I do not really know what's going on here. Everything you're seeing is me figuring it out in real time. Except you don't really get to watch me figure it out because I don't show the process, because it was a lot of fucking around and watching a guide every once in a while. Although I didn't have to use it too much in these ones. I did at like the very beginning of one of these 2 sections that I'm about to go into, which are basically the same. And that was the thing. Once I learned that, I had noticed that there, are 2 things you need to open the door, and you'll see a split path in a moment of 2 major ways to go. And I mean, there are 2 doors at either side of the thing that we can't reach, when we came into this area. So, once I figured out that both of them are not identical, but are the same idea, like you're doing the same thing, I was able to do the second one without much of a problem. And even with the first one, once I realized like what I was actually trying to do, it becomes pretty simple. They're not super difficult rooms to get hang of, but I just like was kind of brain farting when I first entered them and decided to look at the guide just to not waste time, because at that point I had already done a lot of wasting time on trying to move those cylinders around. I hate missions like that in games, by the way, where it's like just finicky shit like that, where you're kind of just guessing at on how to even do it. I mean, I guess you don't have to guess. Like, you could actually just do it a lot of times and like pay extremely close attention and learn how all the movements work and whatever, but like, who the fuck? I don't want to do that. Like, that's not why I play these fucking video games. I play these games because I like hopping and the crunchy sounds. And I like finding the little guys, all the little boys, the fucking medipacks and treasures and stuff. That's cool. But whatever. Here are these terrifying hell demons that I did not see coming and are a little bit hard to dodge because you're on this very high up and relatively small platform, but they're not too bad. Luckily, I will say, I don't know if it is apparent, and I mean this more, that was very close. I don't know why that little thing is there. I thought that there'd be a thing there. And yeah, there's a little poop on top of the guy's head. We'll be getting that shortly. What was I fucking saying? Oh, yeah, I don't know if it shows, and it's not really in my, like, more general gameplay in terms of, like, my ability to figure things out or not get lost or whatever and, like, know what I'm supposed to be doing. But in terms of the sort of moment-to-moment mechanics of physically playing the game, I have noticed that I am getting the hang of certain parts of it, mainly the combat and the different jumpings. But I'm still gonna fuck it up, of course, but I'm just saying, I think just again in my moment-to-moment playing, I feel more in control and more like, less like I'm flailing around than I did when I first played through this game. So yeah, I wasted a lot of time on that section because I thought that you were supposed to, which is why I saved here, I thought that you were supposed to long jump off of the last platform, and I don't know if that works because it may be that the long jump takes too long and you get crushed by the guy anyway, but I couldn't even test that theory because every time I tried to do it, it wouldn't do the long jump and I would just fall in the hole or not move and get crushed. So, because the timing is you have to be very quick. I'm sure you could do it, but you're just supposed to fucking duck. I was not perceptive enough to notice that the thing has like a missing part in the bottom on that one platform that you can crouch down in. Why did I say that? I just mean crouch. Why did I say this stupid made-up word? What the fuck? Anyway, but I like these rooms. There's 2 of these, and yeah, the idea is that you hop on these things, these big columns here, and you don't do what I just did, where you don't press the space bar in time. Let's do that again. There you go, that's what you gotta do. This is the kind of stuff that I mean, like the space bar stuff. Yeah, so you have these thingies, which are cool. They're these big pillar or whatever things, and they have big guys on them. I thought that these were supposed to be grappling hooks, but I do not believe so. And then they get clamped, and then a thing comes out, and yeah. Once you get all 4 of them, then you can throw the switch at the top that I flipped earlier that did nothing, that brings the big pillar, upside down pillar down, and they all reflect the sunlight and open the thing using Egyptian magic. So that's what we're doing, and we've got to do it twice. There are 2 rooms where you do this, and they, like I said, not identical, but pretty much the same deal, and one is not much harder or easier than the other. And yeah, lots of edits here and a little bit later, but for the time being, it's pretty smooth sailing. So, while this is going on, I mentioned in the last video, one of the things that I love to do while I'm just, you know, idly being in a place or, you know, in the car with Liv or anything like that, or I'm trying to be silly, is just make up nonsense lyrics to songs that are stuck in my head. Which happens very often, songs getting stuck in my head. I mean, as it does to all of us, but I'm one who gets, like, multiple songs stuck in my head within a short time. And usually... Well, first of all, it's not really always songs that I even like. And, I often don't know the lyrics to all of them. So, or like the exact lyrics, so I'll just substitute in like nonsense words, or more often, if I know like the rhyme scheme, I'll just try to make up like a dumb thing that usually involves like butts, or dicks, or cum, or something, you know, one of the or poop, you know, one of the universal funny things. And I said I wanted to come up with some examples of that in the last video, and I could only think of a couple, and they're relatively recent songs, and they were both songs that were in my head because Liv played them a lot at one point, like when the albums they're on came out. And one of them, which is like honestly one of my weaker ones, is I don't remember the name of the song, but it's a Harry Styles song. And it's the one where he says, "I'm not ever going back," and I would say, "I'm not ever smoking crack." Which, like, yeah, that's not really funny, but this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about. It's not, you know, I'm not submitting these bits or whatever. These aren't my shopped bits or anything. It's just, you know, shit that I'm saying while I'm doing the dishes just to make myself giggle. A much better one is an Ariana Grande song from, I don't remember what the song is. It's funny because I was about to say I think it's from the album Sweetener, and it might be the song Sweetener, But, and it's one that I would do and Liv would actually laugh at it. She thinks this not ever spoken crack one is stupid, and it is, so that's fine. But it's a line where she says, "I like the way you lick the bowl," and I'd actually, the first time I heard the song, I didn't know what she was saying, so that's why my head just kind of filled it in. But I heard a B, so I would just say, "I like the way you lick my butt," and it fits pretty well in the song, and it always sounds funny when you do it to the tune of the song, which I'm not going to attempt right now because the song isn't playing and I'm not a singer guy. Anyway, here is the first of the thingies. I forget what they call them. It's some weird name that I don't remember. That was just on the screen a second ago, but I wasn't looking at it. And then, yeah, I can't really think of any others off the top of my head. If I do, and they're actually funny, I'll try to mention them. But those were the two that, like, came to me that I, like, actually remembered to remember. There's a great one that isn't mine, and it's unfortunate where it comes from, because it comes from Louis C.K., but it was in not a special of his, but it was in this, like, HBO... like roundtable discussion with him, and I think it was Chris Rock, Ricky Gervais, and Jerry Seinfeld, which, like, you know, real rogues gallery of guys, but he told a funny story about this dude who did like a musical comedy bit at a place that he did comedy at, and he was singing, sitting on the dock by the bay, but said, sitting on a cot 'cause I'm gay. And that's like, again, I didn't make it up, but that is sort of like the perfect idea of, that's like an actually funny idea of the thing that I am describing, which I'm sure a lot of people do, but whenever I like think about it or talk about it, it just seems silly. And sometimes I'll, like, I'll, like, say them to people who aren't around me all the time, and they'll not think it's funny, and they'll be like, but those aren't the lyrics. Anyway, this is my fun thing. Another thing that I did, I don't do it now, so that's, which is a good thing, and it's very strange to think about now, but, and I don't know if I've talked about it on a video before or not, but I think about it every once in a while, how, so there are things that, like, when I was, like, a kid, when I was in, like, elementary to middle school, it was, like, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, but I mean, probably, even before 4th grade, because, you know, I'm a little kid, and I obviously didn't, like, mean any malice, and I think most children probably do this, but, I would just, like, straight up lie to friends of mine about, like, or, like, stories, just stories that are completely fake, either about me, or just, like, stuff that's happened in the world. I would just, like, say it, and, like, sometimes it was stuff, like, okay, let me give you an example. So sometimes it would just be, like, stories of, like, things in my life that either didn't happen, or that I had embellished to be, like, a movie scene or whatever, to, like, make it punchier. Not even, like, a movie scene, but to be better as, like, a bit, as a story. But most of the time it was just shit that didn't happen. Like, there was one that I told people in, like, 5th grade that, like, we were trying to put up the Christmas tree and, like, it fell on my dad or something, which, like, you know, is totally, you know, just a thing that, like, that a 10-year-old me would think is hilarious. And I mean, hey, it killed in 5th grade, so what the fuck you want me to do? It was encouraged behavior. But other times it would just be stuff. My favorites are the ones that were just stuff in the world that weren't real. Like, one, my friend in middle school who I played Toontown with when I was a kid, I remember telling her that, like, that they were making a Toontown movie and that the main characters were going to be our characters in the game. And I would just tell her, like, new plot details or whatever every day. And she would be like, that's amazing. And as far as I could tell, she believed it at the time. I'm sure if she even remembers this, if she were to look back on it, she would probably know that it was entirely made up. But see, that one, they were like, oh yeah, this is a great mistake. You cannot get back up from here, as far as I'm aware. I tried for a very long time. I just ended up reloading the save. So, I mean, you can get some of those things, but... some of the pillars to go down, but there are some that you have to do before you fall in the fucking water. So, and I did exactly what I did before the second time in terms of jumping toward the thing. It just, it's like this game, just sometimes doesn't fucking work, and fuck you. Anyway, but, so there were two kinds of, like, of these, fake stories I would tell people, and this was the first of kind, which is, it's just an idea I had, but I didn't want to just tell someone that I had an idea for, because who fucking cares? And these are friends of mine, so they already have heard a bunch of stupid-ass movie ideas from me. So... I just said that, it's a movie that they are making, and I, like, have some kind of inside scoop as to what's going to be in it. And also, it's just coincidentally exactly the movie that me and her had, like, imagined it when we talked about, like, wouldn't it be cool if there were a movie about this game that we play and that our characters were in it? That would be awesome. And, of course, eventually it was just like, oh, it got canceled. But the best part was, thinking back to it, because we were kids, it was like, in terms of convincing her that it was real, she'd be like, where do you get this information? And I would just be like, it's a website. And she would, well, what is it? And it's like, I don't know. And that was enough, that wasn't sus or anything to another child. Because, you're friends and you trust them. And there's lots of websites, when you're a kid, there's a lot of websites, and you haven't been on all of them. Who knows what could be on websites and what they could say. So that's pretty funny. The other one that really makes me laugh when I think about it now is when I was like 10 or whatever, and I had this friend who the main bonding thing for us was Lego. I don't really remember how that came about, but that became the primary thing that we, like, did and talked about and, like, like I said, bonded over, until we started playing RuneScape, and then I got a Wii, and then all he wanted to do was come over to my house and play the Wii, and that kind of annoyed me, so, and it wasn't even mine, that was the thing. But anyway, so we had this, like, running gag between us that, because we hated Mega Bloks, because we saw them as, like, a cheap ripoff of Legos, and, Lego. Apparently the plural of Lego is Lego, and if you don't say that, then there's a whole fucking clan of Lego monks that are gonna come, scalp you. So I told him about, like, a rivalry between Lego and Mega Bloks, which is primarily funny for one thing, just because, first of all, I don't think Mega Bloks is the name of the company. I think it's just the name of the toy line. I think they're made by, like, Mattel or something. I don't even know. But I definitely, it's not the Mega Bloks Corporation, or at least I would highly doubt. And I don't remember all of the details, but I knew the names of the people who ran the Lego company over the years, because that's kind of like public knowledge and whatever. It's the Christensen family. They're a Danish family of carpenters. I actually didn't know any details about their life. I made that all completely up as well. But I remember telling him that there was, like, an actual feud between the leaders of the CEO or whatever of Lego and of Mega Bloks, and the only specific detail I remember in the 80s was that the Mega Block CEO, like, personally broke into and burnt down the Lego headquarters building in Denmark in the 80s, and ever since then they've been out for blood. And he thought it was incredibly compelling. And again, he was like, where did you find out about this? And I was like, I Google, Wikipedia. And they never fucking checked, or if they did, they never called me on it, so whatever. Hey, as far as I can tell, both of these people still believe these things, which would be hilarious, but in that case, if they're listening to this, I am sorry for just plainly invented bullshit. That's the thing, is that, like I said, there were two kinds. One is stuff that was my idea or that I was thinking of that I would just say was someone else's idea or was a thing that already happened for whatever reason. I don't fucking know why. I was a child. The other one was stuff that I fully just pulled out of my asshole. I was literally just saying no shit, just nonsense, like the Lego Mega Block thing. But I think about it all the time now, and it's so funny, and I can't explain why I did it. And I'm like, am I terrible? Am I was I a Machiavellian child, or did everybody do this? I don't really know. Anyway, that was this thing, and now next time we're gonna do the submerged room, which I still haven't played through yet, so I don't even know what this deal is, so I guess we'll find that out together next time. See you then for that.